Today's show is brought to you by
The Book, The Grand Unified Theory of Bullshit, available now, and so is the audiobook. Look for the link. It's there. And also AdamandEve.com. When you use code GLORY, you get 50% off almost any one item, plus free shipping, plus a bunch of free gifts. And by PaintYourLife.com. Text the word cognitive to 64,000 for 20% off your first order. Buy the book and the audiobook.
Be advised that this show is not for children, the faint of heart, or the easily offended. The explicit tag is there for a reason.
Recording live from Glory Hole Studios in Chicago and beyond. This is Cognitive Dissonance. Every episode we blast anyone who gets in our way. We bring critical thinking, skepticism, and irreverence to any topic that makes the news, makes it big, or makes us mad. It's skeptical, it's political, and there is no welcome mat. This is episode 619 of Cognitive Dissonance. And Cecil.
Yeah.
Big news for the show. Look, I know that World War III is right. I want to acknowledge.
I'm glad.
I want to acknowledge.
I'm glad you at least are acknowledging that
priorities.
That there is right now fucking human rights violations.
I know.
What do they call those? What do they call what do they call those? War crimes?
War crimes. I know that the world has erupted into a chaotic maelstrom of anarchy and bloodshed. I know.
Sure. And let's take a second.
Let's take a second.
Recognize
and
that.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But our book is out. What do you want me to do?
I know. You can
spent a year working on it.
You can't not.
When were we going to time this better in this chaotic nonsense?
It's so hard to talk about other stuff and be smiling about your book. You know
I know. We're at a crazy place where it's like, well, I'll just wait for the next tragedy.
I know, right?
Yeah, but
you're just stuck. You're stuck between two tragedies. We thought it would be a good time to actually, we didn't do any of that.
No.
We just literally just finished it.
It finished when it finished. It's like
it's
like me. I finish when I finish.
But I will say this: we are so excited for this book. So the paperback is out. There's a link on this week's show notes. You can go right now and buy the paperback. The Kindle is out, so you can go get the Kindle as well. Now, both of those are through Amazon. Right now, the audiobook is 100% recorded. We have a foreword, Reverend Michael Marshall. We have introduction we have a preface by me, and then the rest of the book is read by Tom with little pieces. I read some pieces where in the book, you would see it in text where there's sort of a note by one of us to say something where we're teaming up writing it, but there's a point in our life where it doesn't make sense for the two of us to say something together. So it would say like Cecil's note or Tom's note, and I came in and read all the ones that say Cecil's note throughout the book. There are very few, but I did read them. So the book is done though. It's 100% audiobook's done.
Audiobook is ready, guys.
Now we're gonna send it off to a place to get to make it so that the apps are available for people to download, but we're not gonna put it on Audible. So don't look for it on Audible because it won't be on Audible. No. Audible takes like 70% of the money, and we put a lot of time into this. We put a lot of time into this. And you can't sell an audiobook for, a ton of money. I mean, like the most you could sell it for is we're going to be selling it probably on these major platforms for like $20. We are going to be selling the audiobook from our site at $15. That's what we think it's going to be, either $15 or $16, $15.99 or $15. We haven't set it up yet, but we are sure it's going to be ready by Monday morning. So the audiobook will be able to be downloaded. Now,
so you should go to our site and look for it now, is what you're saying.
Yeah, so because that's when they're hearing this.
They're listening on Monday. Yeah. Guys, it's Monday.
Yeah, you should go.
And here's the thing. The only reason it wouldn't be there is if Ian didn't do it. Didn't do his job.
Okay, so I'm gonna give a short pause for Ian to break in here and tell you whether or not he did his job.
I'm mastering it right now, so I got to get back to it.
Better be there, Ian.
If it's not there,
Ian, you're committed.
We're gonna send a pink slip to you.
I'm gonna send two fucking guys with baseball bats and a bad attitude.
I'll get back to it. I'm sorry.
And now, when you buy this, from our site, you're just going to have to figure out, we're going to have some ideas on how you can listen to it. But it's mostly just going to be a downloadable MP3. You're just going to get a downloadable MP3, and then you can put it on your phone, but you're going to have to be able to import it and all that stuff. You're going to have to know how to use your phone well enough without an app to sort of figure all that out. That being said, the audiobook is money. I edited the audiobook, and the audiobook is spot on awesome. Tom read every piece of this, and it sounds excellent. It really does. Tom nailed it. It sounds excellent. I listened to the whole thing. I did all the editing, so there's probably a mistake. If you see a mistake, if you hear a mistake, send me a message and I'll upload a new file.
If you hear a mistake, a wizard did that.
Yeah. If you hear a mistake, Ian did it.
God damn it, Ian.
No,
So the book is now out. Now, I know a lot of people are probably wondering, well, what's your book about? What is it? Look, you're trying to sell me a book, but you didn't tell me what it's about. Well, the book is called The Grand Unified Theory of Bullshit. And the conceit is pretty simple. There's a lot of books that Tom and I have both read throughout the years, and these books are all very, believing in UFOs is bad, and here's why. Here's sort of the logical reasons why you shouldn't, and people do. And you should, here's how you take that sort of thing apart. And there's a lot of books that do that, where they tell you, here's a bunch of pseudoscience, and this pseudoscience is bad to believe in because here's all the bad thinking that goes into that pseudoscience, and don't think it. But there's never really, at least I'd never come across a book that tells you why we believe this stuff. Like, why do I fall for this particular brand of woo? Why is it that I fall for it? And, when you think about atheists, for instance, you can be an atheist and still believe in aliens. You can be an atheist and still believe in ghosts even, because you don't necessarily believe in a God, but you might think that spirits continue on after you're dead. You can be an atheist and you can believe in all kinds of medical woo. You can be an atheist, so the idea is to be more skeptical in your worldview by connecting all these practices throughout all these different types of woo, and specifically telling you why we fall for it. Why do we fall for it? And then when we get to the end of the book, one of the major things that we're talking about is, okay, so we fall for it. We realize that we're emotional thinkers a lot of time, and that's why we think about it. How do we fix it?
Yeah.
And it's not how we fix it. We didn't write a book on how to tell somebody how to fix it.
No.
We wrote a book on how you can fix it for yourself. That's the main thrust.
Yeah, there is a commonality of theme for bullshit. All bullshit kind of smells the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what cow it plopped out of. It all kind of smells the same.
Yeah.
And once you learn to recognize why bullshit appeals to us, then you can begin to build a toolkit and some armor to defend yourself against the urge that we all naturally have to believe in bullshit. And once you see that it all smells the same, it's easier to identify other bullshit.
Yeah.
Because you smell it a mile away.
And it's easier to scrape it off your shoe.
It is.
That's the other thing too, is like, if you are an atheist and you still kind of might believe in aliens, you might realize, oh, maybe I believe in aliens for the same reason other people believe in God.
Right.
And I can shed that belief and get rid of it. And so that's what the main thrust of the book is. There's a lot of the book Tom and I spent a ton of time researching the harm on what these things cause, because we both figured if we didn't explain all the harm that goes into these beliefs, there is a reason and knowing true things is important.
There's an intellectual reason, but like, what impact does that have on the rest of your life?
If you never act on any of this stuff and it also really never hurts anyone, what's the big deal?
Right.
And so we did spend a lot of time researching and planning and thinking about, how does this stuff hurt you? So a lot of the book is a recap of how this bullshit can hurt you. And probably one of the best chapters, I think, is the chapter on paranormal, because that's one that's gotten a pass for so long. That's gotten a pass from so many different people.
It kind of gets a pass as being kitschy.
Yeah. And there's a lot of harm in there, and they do a lot of sneaky things when they report on it. And pulling all that stuff out and weaving that together, I think it took a lot of time, but it was worthwhile. And we think the final book is really worthwhile. We think it's one of those books that if you get it, you'll read it. It's definitely preaching to the choir. You'll probably agree with a lot of this stuff, but you'll hopefully catch yourself in those moments and do what we call a grand unified theory check, a gut check, and pay attention to your emotionality that is getting you to think in that way. And so we hope it's one of those books that you use as sort of a thing you read and then you use this toolkit for the rest of your life.
Yep.
So we were aiming high when we wrote
We
this.
are, but I think I got to tell you guys, we're both really proud of the end product.
Yeah.
And we think that this audience would be particularly, I just think you'd like it. You'd enjoy it. You get a kick out of it. I think there's stuff in there that would be genuinely useful for you. We certainly tried to put something together. We think it's funny at times, and we think it's pretty serious at times.
Yeah.
And it kind of walks that line. So I don't know. You guys should just listen to it.
Yeah.
Or buy it.
Or buy
read it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's going to be,
you got to consume it somehow.
We think it's going to be pretty great. So check our website. There's ways to buy it. You can go check on Amazon if you want to get paper copies or the Kindle copy. The audiobook, like we said, will be on our website. We are also going to be having, we hope it's ready by Monday. We're going to have a form. If you bought the book and you wanna get a signed bookmark, we have signed Grand Unified Theory bookmarks. We will send you a bookmark. And that goes for the audiobook too. If you bought the audiobook and you want a bookmark, send us a message with a copy. Basically, you'll have a form that you fill out, and then you can upload an image of your receipt of you buying it, and then we will send you a bookmark in the mail. Now, the bookmark is going to come when you do send us this stuff. We will send you back a PayPal link because it's not, we have to buy all the things that we need to do to send this to you. So we had to buy the envelopes. We had to hire someone to make it and then do all the work to get the bookmark done. And we're going to have to pay someone to actually do the work to collate all this stuff. So it's going to be a $5 bookmark, but that's the only way that we could figure out a way to get you something signed on this particular, because people were asking for signed copies of the book and it's just so hard to do. So we settled on the bookmark thing. We'd love it if we would love for people to reach out, show us a copy of the book and then we will send you a PayPal link for $5 payment. And once you pay it, we will ship one out to you right away.
Should we give them a little taste of the book, Cecil?
Yeah, I'm going to play.
Want to give them a little something, a little teaser?
I'll play a little 5 minutes or so of this book right now. So I'm going to play a piece of the introduction, and then I will, like I say, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll play a little bit of the introduction for you guys.
This episode's 8 hours long.
This episode, even in the introduction's long. So it's like 30 plus minutes. So I'm just going to play like 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes or so of the introduction, and I'll end at a paragraph. So here's Tom reading our book, The Grand Unified Theory of Bullshit, the introduction.
Believing untrue things can manipulate us into unfounded action. It allows people to shirk responsibility and can lead us to repeat misguided endeavors. When we build understanding on untrue things, we are constructing our thoughts and actions on a poor foundation. And anything built on a poor foundation is necessarily faulty and likely to crumble. But a strong intellectual foundation is not a given. In fact, our brains love to trick us, and it is a constant struggle to fight against our lesser nature that tells us to believe dangerous and silly things without evidence. These types of beliefs are hard to avoid because they're somewhat emotional. We want to believe them. We are invested in them, and we are therefore easier to convince. Our thoughts also need sustained attention to avoid falling into the traps set by agents that want to change our minds and alter our behaviors. Many of these tactics and thought traps are common across all kinds of paranormal, supernatural, and conspiratorial thinking. Once you spot them in one area, you can easily spot the same methods and lines of thinking in another. Just as you prune a tree to encourage it to grow in the way you want, you need tools to help your thought process be as sturdy as it can be. Below are a few common ways that we trick ourselves and ways that other people trick us into believing that something false is true. Motivated reasoning is probably the greatest hurdle when it comes to believing in nonsense. Motivated reasoning means, quite simply, wanting to believe something. By its very nature, this kind of thinking is emotionally satisfying, so using logic to combat it might not be effective at all. It is also us tricking ourselves. We naturally trust ourselves, so when we are the ones doing the deceiving, motivated reasoning is a way for the nonsense to make it past any external guards or barriers we have set up. No one can convince you of things more effectively than you can convince yourself. And the topics in this book are no exception. People believe in alternative medicine first and foremost because they want it to be true. We want a less painful, easier to understand treatment that is guaranteed to work. We believe in religion because we want something wonderful to happen after we die, or we want some outside, omniscient force to be subtly, and in many cases, even not so subtly, controlling our lives. We want Jesus to take the wheel. So many of us want to believe in ghosts and aliens. We want the world to contain fascinating mysteries, and we want to uncover them. We want to live in a universe where we aren't alone and in which we can communicate with dead loved ones. We want a conspiracy that paints the political opposition as monsters, so it's easier to discount anything that opposition says. A cognitive bias that goes hand in hand with motivated reasoning is called confirmation bias. This is the process that allows us to discount or dismiss data that would weaken a position. It also puts undue value on data that reinforces our favored position. Whenever we encounter information about a topic that we are motivated to have a stance on, we will place less value on information that weakens our viewpoint and more value on information that strengthens it. Take, for instance, a political stance. If you are a Republican and think that Republicans are better at governance, you might reason that the times when they are less effective are less important. You may also not place as much importance on any Republican misdeeds, while placing a great deal of importance on another party's misdeeds. Most of us know this as partisan politics, and it permeates our political landscape today. These two cognitive traps, when working in conjunction, create a very difficult obstacle to overcome when trying to convince someone that what they believe is incorrect or that there is a lack of evidence supporting it. These traps reach across all spectrums of supernatural, paranormal, and conspiratorial thought and are the bedrock of poor reasoning on which all these subjects are built.
Pork chop sandwiches! Oh shit! Get the fuck out of here! What are you doing? Go! Get the fuck out of here, you stupid idiot! Fuck, we're all dead! Get the fuck out! G.I. Joe.
This story comes from Rolling Stone. Candace Owens is mad girls aren't being taught to make their future husbands a sandwich, and 13 other crazy CPAC moments you missed. CPAC, Cecil.
Hold on, before you start, Tom, can you just describe what you see here?
Okay, all right. So
there's a picture. There's a picture at the top of this article.
The image is Rambo.
Sly Stallone.
That's Rambo's body. Well, it's not all of Rambo.
No, it's not. There's a piece that's not Rambo.
It's Rambo's body from the 1980s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
From seriously, like, Rambo 3.
When he was juiced up and ready to go.
That dude is like 3.5 feet tall and like 3.5 feet wide.
But he was juiced to the fucking gills.
Jesus.
And you could just look at his arms and he was like, Jesus
ready
Christ.
to fight.
Yeah.
And imposed where Sly's head would be is Trump's ugly, stupid fucking face.
Giant
with a bandana on.
Yes.
As if Trump, I love that they turn, because they've done this so many times.
They've done it so many times.
They turn this fucking fat, unwieldy septuagenarian with fucking dentures and fucking weird hair, and they turn him into a photoshopped warrior. And I think every time it's perfect because it is a fake warrior.
That's exactly it.
Right?
He can't even stand. When you look at him stand, he stands all weird. His back is all arched, and he looks so weird.
He needs fucking both hands to drink a glass of water.
He's so like he's not. They do this thing where it'd be like if everybody on our side put Nancy Pelosi's body, like head on a supermodel's frame.
Right.
It would be
so
that
we
weird.
could like weirdly idolize them.
It would be that weird, right?
Yeah.
If you took Nancy Pelosi's 80-year-old head and you cut it off in a Photoshop.
It really does look super weird.
And you put it on like a young Selma Hayek.
Right.
And you'd be like,
okay, I might need a minute with that.
That is super
Weirdly,
weird.
I feel something
that is
right now.
Super weird. Super duper extra special weird.
The whole idea of like literally creating an idol for these CPAC.
It's so crazy.
For fucking CPAC.
And CPAC is this whole article is just pouring with crazy, Tom.
It's a bar. We just have to read chunks. We just have to fucking read big chunks of it. So the McCloskey couple from the Missouri protest where they pointed guns at BLM protesters were handing out photos of the incident as like mementos and advertisements for her husband's Senate campaign.
Oh, good Lord. And there's a tweet that's linked in there with those two idiots standing there with her striped shirt. She looks like the fucking Hamburglar.
What I love about this is not only was it an atrocious racist moment, right? Yeah. But also it's a bad picture of you guys.
Yeah.
You look fucking unattractive in this picture. If I was running for Senate and somebody took my fucking picture and I was like, holy shit, that's not a good angle. Yeah. I wouldn't be out there like selling it because one time I did an infamous thing at a bad angle.
Literally the only thing they're famous for. Right? It's the only thing you're famous for is a bad thing. It's why those people welcome Kyle Rittenhouse with open arms.
Oh, I know.
You know, it's the same thing.
Yeah, well, you know what it is because they don't give a shit about anything but their symbols.
Yeah.
These people are fucking symbols.
You're right.
Mike Lindell spoke on a small stage. I love this too. He, as it quoted in Rolling Stone, he rambled into a microphone. I love the way they phrase that rather than he gave a speech.
It is so amazing. It is so amazing. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Yeah.
And he was so loud that the sound system was peaking and you could hardly hear anything.
I'm gonna play a little piece of this for you guys. It's only 15 seconds long. Let me play it.
This is the perfect audio for him.
You literally can't hear a thing he's saying. It sounds like the echoiest room you've ever heard in your entire life. And it sounds like Ian mic'd it. It's the worst. It's the worst.
This is what he always sounds like to me, though.
Oh, God.
It just always sounds fucking indistinguishable
Doesn't he
gibberish.
sound like fucking Charlie Brown's mom?
Does.
He sounds like fucking 100% sounds like that.
Oh, my God.
It's so good.
God, it's so great. Good. I love it. According to a video posted by an attendee, folks with access to the VIP room were treated to a complimentary McDonald's buffet before Trump's speech. People paid $7,000 for gold level VIP tickets. Silver tickets were $3,000. Both levels sold out for fucking hamburgers.
Patreon goal.
Yeah.
The level is 7,000.
7,000.
And I will have McDonald's with you. Are you serious? Are you serious, dude? These people are that hard up to meet. And I guarantee you didn't even meet them.
I guarantee they didn't meet him either. But also, like, this is, I think, very clearly in reference to what they think was like a cool moment when Trump shut down the fucking government.
Yeah.
And then
he didn't have a chef.
Right. And then like he had to get hamburgers.
And he got the hamburgers.
For a bunch of like athletes that he was supposed to have at the White House. And that was a disgraceful moment.
But they think it was a banner moment.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the Photoshop thing. It's like you guys can't see past yourselves.
It's insane.
This is insane.
It's insane.
One speaker, an AM radio host from Memphis, Tennessee, started his speech with some comments that were so racist and transphobic, I thought he'd been transported to an episode of the Boondocks. Quote, my personal preferred pronouns are fried chicken and collard greens, he said. He went on to say the mayor of New York calls him a cracker, but he prefers saltine American.
What the
Jesus. What is happening?
God, I even when you said that, I was getting like this.
You get uncomfortable.
You start to clench. You're just clenching. You're like, what is wrong with you? It's not funny.
No.
Like, it's not funny. All it is just punching down at a vulnerable group of people to make yourself feel good. And that's literally all. It's bullying.
It's bullying, and he chooses two groups at once to bully.
Right.
And you're like, God damn, you can't be satisfied to just be racist or just be a transphobe.
Yeah.
You have to combine them into some fucking weird peanut butter chocolate racist transphobe
fucking
moment.
Voltron.
Holy shit.
He's got a foot that's transphobic. He's got a sword that's racist.
God damn.
Unbelievable. This is one that I could not. This one here, I just could not.
Outside of CPAC, on public property, what appears to be a group of accelerationist neo-Nazis gathered for a small picket. Conservative commentary site Red State weighed in to reassure you that their presence wasn't a big deal.
Well, and so I think that they were saying, at least, so I tried to read this Red State article. You can, if you look at the photos, there's a dude, he's a white guy. I'm pretty sure he's a white guy. At least he looks like a white guy in the photo. Now, maybe he's a black guy and he's just covered up well, and the shadows on his hand make him look white.
Sure.
Right? I don't know. But he looked white to me, and he was covered in all the like Antifa stuff. So these guys look like are covered in like that like skull bandana on their mouth, and he's got goggles on, but he has a Burger King crown with the N-word written on it.
Jesus.
And it looks like a white dude. And then they have these fucking swastika flags, the fucking Nazi flags.
And then we're done.
You can't pretend to be a Nazi.
No.
You can't pretend it, because I'm going to immediately think you're a Nazi.
But what is the difference?
Right?
What is, like, literally somebody tell me.
Yeah.
If I am like, you cannot be like jokingly racist.
Yeah.
Because any joking racism relies on racism.
Yeah. It's not a joke anymore.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not how any of this works.
And these guys are every single one of these guys is all, at least from what I could read, is that they were trying to say that these guys are just kidding around. This is for the lols. They're doing it for performative reasons. And you're just like, you can't just show up at a place. It's not funny. Like, it's not funny to just have a Nazi flag. That's not funny. That's not comedy.
Right. It's like, okay, so it's one of those moments you want to be like, explain to me the joke.
Yeah, what's the joke?
Tell me the joke.
What is your joke?
We've done this thing, and I do have to get off on a little bit of a tangent though, because we've done this thing where we are confusing the idea of comedy. People use that as an excuse all the time. Oh, it's just a joke. And you're like, well, what's the joke? Tell me the fucking joke. And what the reality is I'm mocking you.
Yeah.
Mocking someone isn't a joke.
Yeah, that's not a joke.
Right? Like if I write a fucking mean fucking vulgarity for charity thing, then I read it to the person, and I stood in front of them and just fucking read it to them and made them feel bad. That's not a joke anymore.
Yeah, it's not a joke.
That just means that you hurt somebody.
Just being mean.
Right.
That's
it's like if I punch somebody in the face, but then when I'm done punching him in the face, I'm like, but I was kidding.
I was kidding. It was on
They
Jackass
still got punched.
or whatever, you know?
Right. You know?
Yeah.
What the fuck? What are you talking about? It's a joke.
And when you have to hand wave away your Nazis that show up,
right.
You can't hand wave that away. And then the other one that you should definitely read, Tom, is the Kevin Sorbo.
Oh, this is amazing. Kevin Sorbo attended one of the special dinners in a blue suit lined with fabric that prominently featured his own tweets.
Can you believe?
And one of those tweets is Bill Gates, the same person who says the world is overpopulated, wants to save your life with a vaccine.
Wow, that's a zinger. Really fucking, that's a fucking...
There you go.
Man, that's a... Download all of Twitter just to save that.
There you go.
Future reference. It's
boy, there's a thinker.
Think about this. Is there... I can't think of anybody more self-absorbed if they create a fucking quote with their own tweets.
Their own words.
I mean, at that point, you know, K Sorbs is at home fucking jerking off.
Sorbs.
He's jerking off and he's giving himself a facial and loving it every time. You know what I mean? Like that's it. That's the level of narcissism we're talking about here, is that he's like, I bukkake myself every day with my own cum because I love myself that much.
Candace Owens said that everything has gone downhill since feminist education in the 1970s began encouraging girls to pursue a career when they grew up instead of focusing solely on supporting their husbands. Schools said to women, don't stay at home. Go be like a man. Go to work. Why would you want to stay in the kitchen? Don't make him a sandwich.
It's weird that Candace Owens has all this free time to speak at a convention when we should be supporting her husband at home.
Thank you. Candace Owens has a fucking career.
Yeah.
She has a career. Women shouldn't have careers. That's what I'm saying, specifically to appeal to a male audience.
How gross is it that there's so many people in the Republican Party that have to deal with that sort of cognitive dissonance of their own lives, right? Candace Owens is a perfect example of this.
She's a brand she sells to.
She is 100% a brand, and she is a token in many ways. And she's a happy token to be there. And I'm not trying to be racist, and I don't want to. I know that
she's a female token.
That can be construed as, but I'm not trying to be racist against her. I'm just saying, like, it's not only race, but it's also gender.
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
She is that for them because she's basically spouting off all the same talking points but she has a different set of bits than most of them, and she has a different skin color.
Yeah. Well, I think what she's done very kind of cleverly is she has monetized their talking points and her tokenism and sold it right back to them. And they're dumb enough to fucking buy it. There's a part of me that, like, I abhor everything Candace Owens does and says and stands for. But there is still a part of me that kind of admires the fucking chutzpah of just selling back to you your own racism.
Right.
Like,
it would be amazing.
Part of me wants to pull her off to the side and be like, so that's fucking,
you're fucking doing it.
You're grifting them, right? You're fucking grifting these idiots.
I would love it at the end of a long career if she just says, I've been a liberal the whole time. I just played all you idiots.
It would be, if she wasn't doing damage.
If she wasn't doing damage.
And that's the thing.
And that's the problem is that this, and the other problem too is that she's a rabid anti-vaxxer, and I can't tell you how many of those memes on the Herman Cain Award have her picture on them. So she's a damaging individual. I'm not saying that.
Right.
So don't get me wrong on that front either, that I'm somehow admiring her for. She's a terrible, awful person, but the grift she has going is really clever.
Absolutely.
Really clever grift.
And I think she's very aware of it. I do. I believe she's very aware of that grift. And, like, this is kind of going back to the comments we were making before, Cecil. If she were to come out, like, in 5 years and be like, I was grifting you, you were still doing damage.
You're still doing the wrong thing.
You were still the fucking problem.
Hurting people.
There are still lots of people out there who use what you said to change other people's minds and to reinforce their own worldview. And that worldview is bad. It hurts others.
And it hurts people like you.
Yes.
Right? It hurts women. It hurts people of color.
Yes.
It hurts those people. And you hurt vulnerable communities because it made you money.
Yep.
And that's a
fucking awful thing to do. Yeah.
But this whole escapade down there, you just have to click through this article and just make sure to click every single red link. Because every single one of them is a treasure. The fucking Let's Go Brandon booth they had. So check this article out because the pictures on here are just worth looking at. If you like to people watch, you need to open this article up.
CPAC has gotten weirder and weirder, and we've been covering it for years.
It's like a carnival.
It has gotten so much worse.
It's like a carnival.
It is.
And then Majorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, good Lord.
Let's jump into that, Tom.
Let's talk about this. Because there's a competing conference, right? So the competing conference, there's CPAC and there's AFPAC.
Yeah.
And AFPAC is the fucking white nationalist, racist fucking conference that's hosted by Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes is the actual fucking worst. And just in case you're like, oh, people throw like white nationalists around like all the time. Like, Nick Fuentes is an actual, like, avowed white nationalist. He's a terrible person.
Tom, you posted this in the notes, and I just want to play this. This is a minute 32 long. We're going to play Nick talking here. Now, this is the conference that Majorie Taylor Greene and another member of Congress spoke at.
Yeah, Paul Gosar.
So they both went to go speak there. Paul Gosar, wasn't he the one who was... No, I'm thinking of Gozer, the Gozerian. Forget
it. Mandate deadly vaccines. Enhance the powers of the federal surveillance state. Let's face it. The United States government has become the evil empire in the world. The United States government has become the great Satan that many have called it. What even is our main export? We have our embassies and consulates all across the world. They wave the flag of what? Transsexuals, Black Lives Matter, the gay pride flag. You know, being an American used to mean something, and now it means all this crap. And it's a shame. You take a look at China. I hear Fox News and conservatives talk all the time about the Chi-Coms, Chinese social credit system. Have you taken a look at what Google and Facebook are trying to do? Social credit system. And now they're going on about Russia and Vladimir Putin is Hitler. And they say that's not a good thing. And I shouldn't have said that.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, dude.
Are you fucking serious?
Vladimir
dude?
Putin.
They say he's Hitler.
And like, that's not a good thing. Holy shit.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene spoke at this place. Yeah. And even Kevin McCarthy, who's the minority leader in the House,
yeah.
he even came out and said, holy fuck, I can't believe you did this.
Yeah, I mean, she's already been stripped of all of her committee assignments.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Short of just booting her ass out of fucking Congress, which they should do.
Yeah.
Like 100%. She should be kicked the fuck out.
100%.
She claims that she showed up to AFPAC not knowing anything about AFPAC because she knew, but somehow she knew that the demographics skewed younger and she wanted to talk to younger people. And that's nonsense, because if you hear what she says at AFPAC, what she says is something, she says something like, so many of us in this crowd know what it's like to be canceled. So she's done her fucking homework to know who's in that crowd.
Yeah, sure.
She tailored a speech specifically knowing who that crowd. Yeah. She knows what AFPAC is. Yeah. You don't just accept. See, so we've gone to fucking conferences before. We vet the conference we go to.
Sure, yeah. There was conferences we were invited to that we didn't go to.
Yep, because we looked at the other speakers and we're like,
nope,
abso-fucking-lutely
hard
not.
Fucking pass.
Yep.
We didn't go to those ones. And there's been a couple of them. It's not just one.
Right.
There's been a couple of these conferences.
When you're going to speak at something, and these weren't even things necessarily we were, these are just things we were going to go to.
We were just going to go to.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't, as somebody that has some kind of sway or credibility within any community, much less if you're going to be much more if you're going to be a fucking speaker, you have a fucking responsibility to do at least a little bit of homework. And if you get it wrong, but you did your homework, fine. Yeah. You probably didn't get it AFPAC wrong.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. Look up fucking Nick Fuentes. He said some of the worst shit you've ever heard. This guy says he doesn't want to stop until America is a Christian Aryan state.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a straight up neo-Nazi.
You have people on his side that are saying, never go near this guy.
Right.
These are people on Marjorie Taylor Greene's side that are saying,
yes,
holy shit, I can't believe you went to this conference.
Yep. And this is all part, like Nick Fuentes and all the rest of these fuckers are part of some Groypers thing. Have you heard of the Groypers?
No, I hadn't.
So it's Groypers. And I just found it when I was reading about this stuff. So what it is a bunch of like far-right, neo-Nazi, white nationalist internet trolls.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Can you think of a fucking less worthwhile group of people in your life?
No, I literally
cannot. I cannot. I could not put a sentence together that would be worth less than what you just said.
Thank you. And they call themselves fucking Groypers. And the Groypers are like these right-wing internet trolls that are trying to come out of the internet and make their right-wing politics IRL politics.
Fucking
so
serious?
These are this Nick Fuentes and his ilk. They are Groypers. That
fits. It fits. And so is she.
Yes.
And so
that's
is
exactly
fucking
right.
she.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
She is a product of this troll culture.
Yeah. Her and Boebert, they're literally there to be hecklers the other night at the State of the Union. They're literally there just to heckle.
Yes. There has been a complete breakdown in the difference between, and because it was always a false distinction, in the difference between real life decorum and speech and respect and fucking internet world, right?
Yeah.
It was always a false distinction. We always pretended it was real.
You're right.
And all that has happened now is what was always inevitable, which is the poison and toxicity of treating other human beings poorly has become a standard. And now we standard bearer that around in the actual world face to face. And we used to be scared of each other. And that's why we didn't do it.
Yeah.
We were afraid of social consequences.
It was the social consequence. It was always that.
Yeah.
And now we've distilled down this internet hatred and now we get juice from it.
Yep.
So now when we go out in the real world and we do this sort of thing, these people still get that juice from that internet stuff that they had created a while back.
They sell this twice.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, like, these motherfuckers sell it twice because they sell it in real life and then they turn around and sell it back to you online.
Yep. It's abhorrent. I can't believe that woman. I mean, I can't believe she's part of Congress, but and the worst part is that she is a rallying figure on the side. We talked about it 3 weeks ago, where you said she's like the second most sought after person to get an endorsement from, because they know that it's that's the party of trolling. It is the party of trolling if she is your person, because she has nothing to offer the world.
She is a person who defines herself for her confrontationalism.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. That's the only thing she has.
And the thing is that, like, if we accept that as part of what we think of as serious discourse, then the result that we get will be confrontationalist politics.
That's all you're going to get.
And confrontationalist society. We won't accomplish anything. You can't solve a single problem with confrontationalism.
Yeah.
It's a bullshit ideology, and it's a cowardly ideology, because at the end of the day, it doesn't put anything forward.
Yeah.
All it does is just attack. And being on attack all the time is actually so fucking cowardly, because you never put anything vulnerable of your own into the world.
Yeah. And it's all stop. It's stop this, stop this, stop this.
Yes.
You can't be that on the side that is trying to progress.
Yep. Because fucking garbage.
You can't do it.
Boom, 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 boom.
Ian.
I want you in.
Ian?
Oh, hey, Gary.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm trying to visit a website and listen to music while reading a book, but I can't seem to figure out how to get my hands to hold the book and use the computer while I'm listening to music.
Wait, what's the book?
Oh, it's a new release.
And what's the website?
Well, AdamandEve.com, of course.
Well, maybe there's an audiobook available?
An audiobook?
Yes, Ian, an audiobook. It's the Let's Play of reading. With an audiobook, you can listen to your favorite newly released title while shopping at the website of your choice, which is, of course, AdamandEve.com.
Here, I'll put this beautifully crafted and printed manuscript on the shelf to display to my friends and family. But now I can also purchase the audiobook for a convenient listening experience?
Now you've got it.
And what's more, I can finally use my hands to go to AdamandEve.com and select almost any one item.
What happens when you select almost any one item?
Why, I get 50% off that said almost any one item.
Boy, howdy.
But that's not all. When you purchase one item, they'll also send 3 bonus sexy items and 6 free movies.
Look at those fingers working.
More than that, Adam and Eve wants to make your life easy. They offer discreet shipping as your privacy is a priority, plus free shipping on your entire order.
That means the feds don't know what I bought.
Sounds true. Just to recap, that's 50% off one item and 10 free gifts to boot.
And a free boot?
No, to boot.
Two boots?
No, T-O boot.
Oh, that would have been glorious.
Funny you should mention that. Use offer code GLORY at checkout and get all this great stuff.
Is that GLORY, glory, at checkout at AdamandEve.com?
Yes, it is. This is an exclusive offer, so be sure to use code GLORY to get not just the discount and the free goodies, but also the 100% free shipping. Code GLORY.
Wow, I'm so glad I told you about that audiobook.
You know you can't spell audiobook without AdamandEve.com.
That sounds correct to me.
Glory! You know, when I sit down to read a good book or listen to a fine audiobook available now, I usually think to myself, how can I make this memory last? How can I capture this moment and relive it by seeing it on my wall each day? Wait, I know, PaintYourLife.com. When I heard about PaintYourLife.com, I thought, that must be for rich people and museums, not for millennially bearded hipsters with crushing student and avocado toast loans. Well, not so. If you want to give a truly meaningful gift, you've got to try PaintYourLife.com. Get a professional hand-painted portrait created from any photo at a truly affordable price, or combine photos of people or places you love into one painting. Send any picture, yourself, your children, family, a special place, someone you loved who isn't around anymore, a cherished pet, even an action shot of you, or your children playing your favorite sport, or reading your favorite book, or listening to an audiobook. Makes the perfect birthday, anniversary, or wedding gift meaningful, personal, and can be cherished forever. I know when I go to the houses of my friends and family where I've gifted them a PaintYourLife.com painting, I can stare at that painting for hours instead of talking to them about the Real Housewives of Dayton County. At PaintYourLife.com, there's no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded, guaranteed. And right now is a limited time offer. Get 20% off your painting. That's right, 20% off and free shipping. To get this special offer, text the word cognitive to 64,000. That's cognitive to 64,000. Text cognitive to 64,000. Paint your life. Celebrate the moments that matter most. Message and data rates may apply. Terms apply. Available at Paint Your Life. Shh. 3D printer. PaintYourLife.com. Again, text cognitive to 64,000.
In America, there is plenty of light beer, and you can always find a party. In Russia, party always finds you.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. Hey!
This story comes from Mediaite. Tucker Carlson slams efforts at censoring Kremlin-backed RT,
claims no dissent is allowed.
Did you see RT America shut down today?
Fucking good.
Yeah, it's RT American closed its doors today and they laid everybody off. All the workers got laid off.
Now, I did not verify this, so I want to tell like right off the bat, but there's a blogger that I follow that I respect quite a lot. Her name is Heather Cox Richardson, and I generally respect what she does and says, and she seems very well researched. And she posted something the other day that I saw, and again, I haven't verified it, but that since all these Russian fucking trolls, bots, and news stations have come down, the amount of like disinformation and rabid right-wing bullshit on Twitter has dramatically decreased, which only goes to prove what we have been talking about for fucking years, which is that this is all propaganda from the information war that has been successfully waged by Russia.
People on Reddit, I follow Reddit and I follow the comment section because I do read comments a lot. And there's been a lot less of those comments too. They've noticed it on Reddit too. The people on Reddit have noticed that there's been less of those comments because those comments will come in on the top comments and then they'll start getting upvoted by these bots that, but there's been less of it. And RT America shut down today. I saw it on Reddit. I wasn't able to verify it, but I saw the link on Reddit to a news site. So I know it was a news site that reported it. But yeah, so today.
Fucking good.
Yeah, I mean.
Fucking good.
I don't understand how the fuck they were here anyway. I don't understand how you were just like, no, it's cool. Yeah, come on in.
Yeah,
enjoy. You pour the poison in my ear. It's
right,
cool.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. You know, like during every major world war, like we flew leaflets and you drop leaflets in a propaganda war, right? So you drop leaflets over the enemy line to try to, propagandize them.
Yeah.
What's insane is that now, rather than dropping leaflets, they're opening up, they're renting and leasing space and selling their fucking propaganda to us using our own systems.
Yeah.
And we're only now turning around and saying, and what I hope, Cecil, is that we never let them back on.
Just like with Trump.
Never.
Just like with Trump, right?
Yes.
You saw what happened there and you're just like, no, that's done. You're done now.
If they fucking pulled out of Ukraine tomorrow, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Never let that fucking propaganda farm
there's too much
spew
money,
its shit.
Too much money there. And that stuff gets clicks. And I don't think that the people who own this and want to monetize your eyeballs care enough about the world.
No.
And, these are oligarchs.
Yes,
these are oligarchs.
They are. Yep.
So, they don't give a fuck about anything except for how much fucking money they're going to make. Now, Tucker was he was very upset about this because people were attacking RT and basically attacking all these Kremlin-based news organizations. And so he was pissed off about it. And he said as much. And he has been backing Putin since the beginning. But I want to play this clip. This clip was edited by someone who went out of their way to play pieces of him basically arguing with himself 4 days apart. So I will try to tell you what the screen says when it plays. So here we go. So this is Monday, February 28th.
Greene began by pointing out that Russia has obviously earned our contempt.
Okay, so 4 days before.
Democrats in Washington have told you have a patriotic duty to hate Vladimir Putin.
This is again going back to the 28th.
Most Americans now despise Vladimir Putin, and that's understandable. There
4 days before.
Conflict in Eastern Europe. Before that happens, it might be worth asking yourself, since it is getting pretty serious, what is this really about? Why do I hate Putin so much? Has Putin ever called me a racist? Has he threatened to get me fired for disagreeing with him? Has he shipped every middle-class job in my town to Russia? Did he manufacture a worldwide pandemic that wrecked my business and kept me indoors for 2 years? Is he teaching my children to embrace racial discrimination? Is he making fentanyl? Is he trying to snuff out Christianity? Does he eat dogs? These are fair questions, and the answer to all of them is no.
Monday, February 28th.
Most Americans now despise Vladimir Putin, and that's understandable. They're outraged.
So a massive about face.
Yeah. With no recognition of the about face.
In 4 days.
Like the thing is that I saw this and I wanted to point this out. It is okay for honest people to have a change of heart.
100% agree.
You can be wrong. I've been wrong.
Yes.
Like I've been wrong about important things.
Me too.
And I have come around on things and thought more deeply and been educated about things. And then when you do that,
all of a sudden your messaging does change.
It has to.
But it changes when you do this. It turns out I was wrong.
Yeah.
And here's what I learned.
Yeah.
And here's how I learned it.
Those are
here's what swayed me.
That's some of the hardest things that you can do in your life.
Yes.
It really is a hard thing to admit your fault and your weakness and your incorrectness.
Yeah.
It's very hard to do. And I think it takes a lot of courage to do that. It takes a lot of courage to look at yourself and want to change.
Yeah.
To want to change who you are and to want to change yourself for the better. I got evidence. This evidence makes me think something different. I had all my life thought about this way.
Right.
I had thought about it this way because maybe I had bad notions. Maybe sometimes that stuff is, racist or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I had incomplete information. I didn't think clearly
recognize
about it.
sometimes
Yeah, right.
that you're racist, right? There's been times in my life where I don't recognize that I'm being racist. And then I suddenly hear something that makes me realize I have been racist. And then I stop, and it's a painful process to go through.
Yep. But you go through it.
But you go through it. You do it.
Yep.
And you do it. But unless you're a fucking giant coward, and then you don't even fucking look at the flaming wreckage behind you.
Right.
As you gingerly step over it and pretend nothing happened.
I mean, this would be a non-issue if he was like, holy shit, I didn't think it was going to escalate this bad.
Yeah.
I misjudged the severity of the conflict, etc. I was wrong.
Yeah.
This is an atrocity. As I watch this unfold, I have come to the conclusion I was wrong 4 days ago when I downplayed this. It's the fucking easiest thing in the world.
And actually, to be honest, that's an easy thing to do.
That is the easiest thing to do.
That is an easy thing to do.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
He could get out of this without losing any face. And that's the easiest kind of reversal, right? Because he's the smoothest, he's a fucking lubricated exit.
Yeah.
And if you want a lubricated exit, you can head over to adamandeve.com.
A lubricated entry.
Or exit.
Or exit.
Head over to AdamandEve.com.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. No, but it's watching Tucker Carlson just, that stream of garbage that came out of his mouth to say why you shouldn't hate Putin is essentially just bagging on every single, he essentially hates every single Democrat in the country because he's straw manning every one of their arguments as he works his way through them.
100%. And it's so funny. I have to point out too, when he's like, well, did they close down your business by manufacturing a pandemic? It's like, most of the pandemic was under your boy's watch.
I know. It's like, I don't understand how they don't see this.
Did you guys think the pandemic started fucking in January of 20? Or 21 rather? What the fuck?
DeSantis this week when he talked to those kids.
Oh my God, and he made fun of them for wearing masks?
He walks out and he sees them. He's like, come on, guys, take the masks off. And there's these students. He's at one of those state colleges in
USF.
He's at a state college in Florida. He walks up and he says, and all these kids are lining behind the podium in masks. And he walks up and he says, come on, take these masks off. It's enough with the COVID theater. You can wear them if you want, but they're not doing anything.
Yep.
And then he starts his speech. And a couple of the kids took him off. Now, there's a couple of brave kids behind there like, fuck you, I'm wearing this fucking thing.
Yeah.
If I don't feel safe, I'm going to wear it. The end.
That's it.
That's the end of this. It's my safety, not yours. But, to hear him say COVID theater, and you're like, man, it started all under Trump. It was all under him. What are you talking about, COVID theater?
What theater has 950,000 corpses in it? Because that's the number of fucking dead so far.
Yeah.
950,000. We're still, people are saying we're still losing 1,800 people a day.
It's not like the deaths are slowing down right now.
1,800 people die every single day on a 14-day average. And we're just done with it?
Yeah.
Because we're what? Bored?
Yeah. Well, and there's a ton of people in the United States that, you look at DeSantis, for instance, as a perfect example. They've been saying since the beginning that he's fucking with his numbers.
Yes.
They've been saying this. He's fired people who've released data. There's been a lot of garbage that has come out that DeSantis has been trying to fudge his numbers to try to prove he's not wrong. This is Trump with a Sharpie, man.
Yeah,
He's
100%.
He's just doing it with other fucking, with an Excel sheet instead of a fucking weather map.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing.
Because a guy like DeSantis is he's in charge of a state that relies on, for a giant chunk of its revenue, relies on tourism. And I understand it. And the thing is, I could be sympathetic to the intense pressure that provides. And I am sympathetic to the very, very many businesses and the people whose like livelihoods rely on this and were impacted. But instead of recognizing all of that as true, they're trying to just write a different history book.
Yeah.
That makes me fucking insane.
Yeah.
They're gaslighting us.
Yeah.
And I hate that term, but they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're straight up gaslighting
They're
people.
trying to pretend nothing ever happened. And then they're trying to blame you for wanting to remain safe.
Yep.
And it's a terrible turn of events.
It is horrible.
Yeah. I'm going to take you to the bank.
Vladimir Putin.
To the blood bank.
He is a legitimate Aikido black belt.
So stories from Queerty. It's just fucking weird, man. Joe Rogan is spreading misinformation again, and the internet is lolling. So fucking Joe Rogan retweeted a picture of Steven Seagal all combat geared up.
Oh God.
And the tweet
straight out of his Jodo. Just walked right out of his Jodo. That's a joke from Citation Needed. We covered. I don't want to say we. I'm going to say this was a gem that Eli found.
This was
a gem that
Eli knocked this essay out of the park.
So
this ball is still in the air.
Go search for the Steven Seagal episode. It is an absolute treasure on stuff I had no idea. The best part about it is I walked into that blind because I had no idea. And there's so much absolute trash. He's such a trash human. And you had no idea he was
such a fucking liar.
Oh,
like he's one of those guys whose entire life is a series of stories that are
of lies. Yeah.
More and more unbelievable.
Yeah, he's a big fish. Yeah. And this image is amazing because somebody has photoshopped CNN. And you want to read it, Tom?
Yeah. So it says intelligence agencies around the world have spotted American actor Steven Seagal among Russian special forces positioned around the outskirts of Gostomel airfield near Kiev, captured by Russian airborne troops. It's a photoshopped image. None of that is true.
Yeah, and it's a Photoshop of CNN.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing that I want to bag on Joe Rogan about, because Joe Rogan, of course, tweets this out and he posts this to Facebook, and then he says something. So, Tom, read what Joe says when he tweets this out and then quickly deletes it.
He says, if I had to guess the plot of this fucked up movie we're living through, I would say we were about 14 hours from the arrival of the aliens.
And then he deleted it because he was trying to make a joke about how fucked up this thing is.
Right.
But he didn't bother to check, right? So a while back, I did something similar, right? I found a story that was false, but I went through the trouble of checking to make sure that it was a real story, at least posted on that website. So it was a real story posted on Rolling Stone. Yeah. They just didn't do their due diligence to make sure that it was a correct story.
Right.
They were going by just a
bad
source, just one bad source that they had said. But I had done my due diligence to make sure that it actually occurred on their site. Because here's the thing, you could just type in a little bit of something with CNN and then you'll find the headline.
Right.
You could find the headline, Joe. It doesn't take long. It takes a few seconds to do your due diligence to make sure that that story is properly sourced from CNN and you're not just tweeting a photo.
But the other thing is, like, Joe does this all the time.
Yeah.
He's like, I think he's just fucking, he's lazy. I think he's a comedian. Like, that's where he got his start. I think that's how he thinks of himself. And it's just fucking lazy.
Yeah.
And I'm lazy. I get that. But I have no fucking excuse to be lazy if I've got a $200 million deal.
Yeah.
You know?
And that many people who follow you and pay attention to your
You
Facebook.
could hire a guy. You could write every tweet. If you wanted to be Joe Rogan and be halfway responsible with that kind of money, you could be like, I wrote this tweet, I'm going to send it, just make sure it's correct.
Yeah, the problem is that it's the speed of the thing too. And I think that one of the things that a lot of these people recognize is that they've got to be on these platforms a lot. Constantly to look at. And, you know, we're saying Joe. It might not be Joe. It's a possibility it was a dude who works for him that did that.
That's true.
There's a possibility. I have no idea.
Yeah, we don't know if Joe
I don't know
has
who's
a guy.
handling his fucking, it could be his girlfriend or his wife or whatever who's doing it. I don't know who's handling his social media account, but whoever did it is wielding a lot of power to a lot of people and they can spread false stories all the time.
And he's done it before he's been burned and doesn't learn the lesson.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's the speed of the thing either, because what I want to mention is that there's this speed factor that you have to have in social media where you have to be first. And if you're first, then you get all the retweets or whatever. And so that's how you get all your juice on social media. I don't know if it's the speed of it. And I don't know if slowing it down would ever help Joe Rogan not be a dumbass, right? Like, I don't know that any amount of slow motion would let Joe Rogan suddenly be smart.
Yeah, but like, if I get burned 2, 3, 4 times on this kind of thing, then I would
something in place.
I would have a guy
you do things like this.
I would hire for that kind of money. I could hire literally a full-time person whose job was to I would tweet him what I wanted to be tweeted.
On call. It'd be 100% on call.
Hey,
job.
make sure this is right.
Here's a salary job.
Right.
I tweet out 10 times a day. You got to be on call, ready to do this.
It would slow it down by minutes. Because like you said, fact-checking some of this stuff takes
seconds.
No time.
Seconds. He could have easily searched on CNN to double check if this was real.
And his excuse for this is like, well, it seems believable because, Steven Seagal has been in trouble with, for shipping. And you're like, okay, seems real isn't enough.
Seems real.
Can we not? And the thing is like, does this have any particular direct harm in and of itself? No. But this adds to a cluttered information ecosystem that is so full of disinformation and misinformation that we are unable to trust anything that lives on it.
Yeah.
And that allows for bad actors to manipulate us. And the more shit we let live in this information ecosystem and the more we propagate it, the worse off all of us are about other more serious shit. Not that the Ukraine situation isn't serious. It's deadly serious.
But this particular story isn't serious in that sense. But you're 100% right, Tom. That is exactly why we need to stop somebody from doing this. Because he's not just your Uncle Joe sharing a bad story who, 5 family members are going to see it because everybody else has him hidden on Facebook.
Right. He should have done a gut check.
Buy the book. That's all I'm saying.
Hi, honey. Smile, honey. Gee, it's great to be back. Hi, honey, I'm home.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you saved it, buddy.
Look at this guy.
You saved it.
Jesus, look at this guy.
Fucking serious.
He looks like, Pat Robertson looks like he got shot in the chest with a shrink ray and like that part of his body is shrinking. Or there's like a weird forced perspective where his head is so much closer than the rest of his body.
His body has shrunk over the years, but also, and I'm not even kidding. You got to look at this picture. See, so when was the last wake you went to?
You're absolutely right. I know where you're going.
He looks like
the
makeup on him looks exactly like corpse makeup.
He looks like someone is manipulating him from.
I'm not even kidding.
No,
when you go to a wake and you see the corpse there, and every corpse looks exactly the same. They use the same fucking makeup for every corpse you've ever seen.
You're right.
His makeup guy is straight out of the fucking funeral home.
All right,
straight out of the funeral home.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I mean. How do you bring a dead thing to life, Tom? Let's play this. This is Pat Robertson. This is him talking about the conflict that is currently happening in Ukraine.
I think you can say, well, Putin's out of his mind. Yes, maybe so. But at the same time, he's being compelled by God. He went into the Ukraine, but that wasn't his goal. His goal was to move against Israel ultimately.
By the way, we learned last week, at least we were messaged, and we must have said it a couple times, it's Ukraine, and I'm trying to catch myself because I grew up in the Cold War when you would use the definite article in front of it.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't do that. It's Ukraine, not
Ukraine. Yes.
Not
we were
definite,
corrected.
Not definite.
I know I made that mistake many, many times.
I think I did too. I'm trying to correct myself. So if you do hear me say it, understand I'm doing my best to try to correct myself. So if I said it earlier in the episode, I didn't mean to, but I'm trying to work on that. But he's wrong. You should say Ukraine.
Ukraine, not the Ukraine.
Not the.
And God is getting ready to do something amazing.
Is it reanimate you? Is that what it is?
And that will be fulfilled. And what Putin is doing by moving as he is to set up Ukraine as a staging ground for one of the armies, and then across is Erdogan at Turkey, and you've got between them that little Dardanelles area, and it's going to happen. So I just say that is what's coming up. Is Putin crazy? Is he mad? Well, perhaps. But God says, I'm going to put hooks in your jaws, and I'm going to draw you into this battle, whether you like it or not. And he's being compelled, after the move into the Ukraine, he's being compelled to move again to get a land bridge and then across the Dardanelles with Turkey, and watch what's going to happen next. You read your Bible because it's coming to pass.
First off, if you put hooks in his mouth and you pulled him, his whole body wouldn't move, but his whole face would basically just slide off his
I don't know
skullet.
that you could put hooks in his paper skin. I think the hooks are just the weight of a hook would pull it right out.
I feel like a stiff breeze could just blow right through him. Yeah.
He has never looked older.
I'll tell you, even a couple of, maybe a year ago when he was still doing this regularly, you still looked at him, you're like, gosh, that guy looks like the Crypt Keeper, but he's genuinely 100%. You're absolutely right. He looks like someone reanimated a corpse.
Oh my God. It's astonishing that he's upright.
Yeah.
It is, especially wearing that corpse makeup.
Yeah.
I'm also amazed that he's like, yeah, you guys watch, there's that end of the world apocalypse glee that these
so
guys
disgusting.
have.
It's so
you're
disgusting.
Oh, I can't wait for people to suffer and to die and for the end of the world to come.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome. It's like, no, your God is, if any of that was real, and it's not, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
I'm worried about plenty of other shit.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. But if any of that was real, that would be the worst.
Yeah.
I know, if that God existed, Cecil, and he came down into the studio, I'd be like, you're the fucking worst. You're the worst.
The other thing that it does too, not only does it make like you say, absolutely, it makes all of these people so ghoulish when they look all around the world and there's no better word than the word you used, gleefully looking around the world at all the sadness and hurt and damage that humans do to others and use it as fodder to try to say that it is the end times come to pass, right? To prove their point and to be gleeful about it. That's a great way to put it. But the other thing that it does too is it makes every single conflict on the globe about them.
Yep.
It takes away the agency of all these people and all the horrible agency behind people on why they do things and all the, the uplifting agency on why people do things, and it makes it about them. Nobody is in control. It's about my God. It's about, and it's a way to make entire United States history, in fact, the world history, about you.
Yep. Yeah. These guys are cataclysm and tragedy fetishists.
Yeah.
They fucking get off on this shit.
Yeah.
And it's grotesque.
Yeah.
It's absolutely grotesque. And they're excited for the next level of suffering to ramp up.
Yeah.
They want it to be true. And I think part of the reason they want it to be true is because it'll finally, it's like the Q guys, I think at some point, they want to find a baby with its fucking face chopped off so they don't look stupid.
John or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think that at some point they're willing to have the tragedy so they weren't wrong all this time.
Just so they could feel better about it. Yeah.
Otherwise, they were just wrong. If you're Pat Robertson, you wasted your whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
If this shit doesn't come to pass, you've literally wasted your whole life.
If you die and just go to sleep, what now?
Right.
Yeah. I feel like an asshole. Well, not for long.
You don't feel anything.
Not for long.
Right?
Not for long, Pat. Not for long. But yeah, it's a selfish way to look at the world.
Yep.
It's a ghoulish way to look at the world. It really is disgusting. And this is just on par for every one of these people, one of these prophets, quote unquote prophets, the evangelical prophets. They've been doing this for decades, and it gets sick. It's just so sickening every time you see it, but sometimes it's just so writ large, you just got to call it out. So we would like to thank our patrons. Of course, we'd like to thank all our patrons, but we'd like to thank our newest patrons, Ty, Lena, Brett, Rope Stuff 2, Chris, James, Connie, Glenn, David, Laura, Stephen, Phil, Aiden, and David. And people up there pledges, Eric and Matthew. Thank you so much for your generous donations. We really do appreciate it. You guys make Glory Hole Studios. You make the wheels on the bus go round and round. You definitely do. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you.
And we didn't get a lot of email this week. We're gonna wind up skipping email. Next week for our stream, we're not sure if we're gonna be able to do one or not. next week we're going to be recording a day early. That means that if we do a stream, it would be on Wednesday night. So watch your Facebook feeds on like Tuesday or Wednesday to see if we're going to stream or not. And if you want to join us for a Wednesday night stream, like I said, check those out to see if we're going to stream those nights. For the next 2 weeks, we'll be recording on Wednesdays instead. So it's a possibility we'll stream, but we're not quite sure yet. So, but definitely keep your eyes on the stream or on the social media for those 2 days. And if you missed our stream this week, check it out because we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun talking about Jerry Enlow or Johnny Enlow. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
It literally does not matter.
And then we watched some fun clips. So come check us out. You can always check our streams out after the fact at YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. And while you're there, you can always like or subscribe to those things so you know when we go live. You'll just get a notification in your like email or on your phone when we go live. And that way you can just show up on the streams and hang out with us.
And the streams are different than the shows. So it's a looser, more off the cuff kind of a feel. It's a good time. So
it's a lot of fun.
Check them out. If you've not already checked out a stream, you're missing out. Check them out. They're a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun. So we want to, of course, let people know, again, the book is out. Please, if you haven't purchased the book and you're interested in purchasing the book, we encourage you to buy it. Tom and I spent a lot of time writing the book and making the book and proofing the book and paying other people to do all the editing on the book. So we did a lot of work on this.
The Grand Unified Theory of Bullshit, guys. You can search for it on Amazon. You can buy it in paperback. You can get it as a Kindle. It's available on our website as an audiobook.
It damn well better
be. It is available on our website as an audiobook.
We're saying it because we're hoping it's true.
Damn it,
We're going to make sure it's true. So this Monday, you should be able to buy the book as an audiobook on our website. And then you can also, like I say, pick it up in any of its hardcover. It's not hardcover, softcover now. Hardcover's in a couple weeks. I haven't gotten the proof yet. So I don't even know what a hardcover book even looks like. Because they haven't sent the when I got it, and it'll take over a month for you to get a hardcover book if you order one. Just letting
Will it really?
Yeah, it will take you over a month to get one.
Holy shit!
I don't know what they do. They must have to.
What do they fucking hand assemble that?
They have to mill the paper or whatever. But seriously, it takes a long time. So I haven't even seen. That's why it's not up as hardcover because I haven't even.
Because we haven't gotten a copy.
I haven't even seen it to even know whether it's worthwhile. So anyway, so the book hardcover should be out. We hope within a couple weeks, but you can get paperback and Kindle right now.
And audiobook. Because Ian's going to make that.
Because
Ian's going to go to our website. You can get the audiobook.
Ian's making it so.
Ian.
All right, that is going to wrap it up for this week. We're going to leave you like we always do with the Skeptic's Creed.
Credulity is not a virtue. It's fortune cookie cutter, mommy issue, hypno-Babylon bullshit. Couched in scientician, double bubble, toil and trouble, pseudo quasi alternative, acupunctuating, pressurized, stereogram, pyramidal, free energy healing, watered downward spiral, brain deadpan sales pitch, late night info docutainment. Leo, Pisces, cancer cures, detox, reflex, foot massage, death and towers, tarot cards, psychic healing, crystal balls, Bigfoot, Yeti, aliens, churches, mosques and synagogues, temples, dragons, giant worms, Atlantis, dolphins, truthers, birthers, witches, wizards, vaccine nuts, shaman healers, evangelists, conspiracy, doublespeak, stigmata, nonsense. Expose your sides. Thrust your hands, bloody, evidential, conclusive. Doubt even this.
The opinions and information provided on this podcast are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of Glory Hole Studios, LLC. Cognitive Dissonance makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, currentness, suitability, or validity of any information and will not be liable for any errors, damages, or butthurt arising from consumption. All information is provided on an as-is basis. No refunds. Produced in association with the local Dairy Council and viewers like you.